Welcome everybody here, Brady from BGWX, and we are live breaking down the upcoming storm tomorrow, the weekend storm, and then also a storm, maybe multiple next week, and maybe even more so on. So there is a lot to talk about. So without further ado, we are about to get cooking here. We're gonna get set up and let people filter in here. So I hope you all are having a great Wednesday night. How are we doing, everybody here? Let me get chat pulled up. Let's get the chat pulled up here. If I can get it. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Let me just getting chat pulled up here. Give me a second. How we doing, everybody? How we doing? Pull up here. Matthew, how are we doing? Michael Phillips, how are we doing as well? Before I get the chat pulled up on my phone here. There we go. There's YouTube. Yes. All right, we got that going. Oh, jeez, another NBA trade. All right, we got both chats cooking now. Let's get this set up. Ike, how are we doing, my man? Yes, me too. I'm ready for snow as well, Matthew. Good man here, CB19. How are we doing? Hey, since you've been gone, the Celtics have been hot, so might be a good idea to keep doing that. I'm just kidding. I have not looked at any of the OZ Globals, so we're gonna peep those here. That's right. Now we're cooking here. Get started here in a second. We're all set up. Alrighty. How we doing, everybody? Let's get started here. I need snowman. Yes, I need snow as well. I need it as well. So let's bring it. Let's bring it on here. We got active times ahead, so we should have a lot to talk about. A lot of live streams, a lot of videos and comments and all that fun stuff from me. So expect a lot of BGWX content coming up here. So we have tomorrow, and then we have this weekend, and then we have maybe Tuesday and Friday, maybe one just Wednesday-ish. It's hard to say exactly, and I am watching beyond that as well. So we're gonna see how that plays out. Actually, I'm gonna go to tidbits first. We kind of know the general. We can go straight to P-type map here with this layout. I mean, it's We're about 6, 7 hours away from this happening. So I might put out a snow map after here too. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, let's get cooking here. So Northeast US and Vamonos. Here we go. So here's the general idea. Again, you can see the overrunning precip. Um, New York City, it will be a close call here. This is going to be a very close call. If you can get a few hours, a couple hours in even of moderate to heavy snow, it's the difference between you getting 1 to 2 inches and a coating to half an inch, maybe. So it's going to be a tough call here in New York City here with the storm on Thursday. Again, we've broken down. You can go back. We've seen the general idea for the setup here with this system. John, how are we doing? The man with the legend, the person. How are we doing? Shout out John. So yeah, with the system again, all preset types here are definitely at play. Yes, ready for big time snow as well. And I need my pen tool. So we'll pull that up. But all preset types are at play here. So there's definitely some that's kind of the concern with this is that it's not just snow with this. There's multiple precip types that we go from snow to sleet to freezing rain here. So there's more than just your average like front end thump switch to rain. It's not going to be quite one of those. So this is why I think it's people might take this lightly, and all of a sudden now you've got yourself in a situation and all of a sudden you got your tractor trailer pile up because you didn't take it serious, or not because you didn't. Just crap happens, man. It's going to be messy probably. Tomorrow morning commute and even the evening commute as well, probably for many, just because, especially as we move into New England, that evening commute could end up being pretty messy because of the ice situation potentially. Even though maybe a lot of the precept stops, it doesn't mean it's not going to be icy. So let's see how they treat the roads ahead of time. But again, here's the situation here. New York, near a lot of it really south. It's a quick burst of snow. South of New York City, quick burst of snow, and you're going to quickly flip to freezing rain and sleet, or sleet and freezing rain. You're not going to see too much snow. New York City, again, close call. Coating to 2 inches is what I'm going to go with in New York City, though. Nothing more than that. And then Southwest Connecticut, that's maybe you can have an opportunity for a little bit more. But again, I'm going to have trouble putting maybe more than coating to 2 on my map, even for Southwest Connecticut. But again, the sleet to freezing rain concern definitely prominent, and then some rain on the backside as well. I'm not going to underestimate the warm nose. I know what the HRR shows, and it's what we want to happen necessarily. I'm not as sure about it, but again, I could be wrong. So I'll take it kind of I'll go in between of the HRR and um, in the NAM here with this, and kind of get a general idea. So it could be more of a 1 to 3. The gaming, hi, welcome. How are you doing? So this could be more of a coding to 2, 1 to 3 situation for Southwest Connecticut. I might. The only reason I might even lean 1 to 3 is just if you're able to get enough of a burst of snow, it's not going to take a lot to get an inch, especially if you're thumping away. And so that's the thing that I look at maybe with this system. But I think favored for most snowfall here is again north of 84, basically, right around 84 north, basically north of Hartford. I would say that's where multiple inches of snow are definitely possible. We are definitely going to talk about Wednesday, Alex. We're definitely going to talk about Wednesday, and then with here right now Thursday, and then the weekend first. Yeah, you don't underestimate the weekend. Don't look ahead, guys. Don't look ahead too much. We're going to talk about it all, but don't skip storms, especially for New York City. You have a chance for snow tomorrow night, and then you're definitely going to have a chance for snow this weekend. So don't take these. Don't overlook each storm itself. Remember, even though the eye candy may be more. I haven't seen the globals yet, but um, I'm there's probably some eye candy. Pretty much every model run out there right now. But again, favor this area for the most snow accumulation with this system. This is where multiple inches of snow I think are definitely possible, if not likely. And then once we kind of move into here, that's where you're favored for the most with this system. Pretty much everybody really switches to sleet or some sort of mix. and dry slot really after, so nobody's really going to be immune to it. It depends on where you are, but in general, yes, there's a chance for 6 inches Saturday, Sunday night or Sunday, whatever. We're going to talk about this weekend after this system here. Um, and again, really, nobody's but really not until you get way up into New England is anybody not going to be prone for mixing. Maine is probably in the best spot for this to be able to see the most snow, or at least all snow out of this system. Mostly snow. Yep, for Long Island. Yep, we will talk about Long Island for for this weekend. Absolutely, we will talk about that. But then you can see we take some soundings here. This is what caught my eye here. Is this? I mean, that's a really good thump right there. You take a 20. Obviously that warm nose is kicking, but look at that sounding there. I mean, this. I took a look and I was like, this is gonna thump probably. If you saw this, this would be very heavy snow. This is where like maybe 2 inch per hour rates are theoretically possible. That warm nose is so prevalent. Though, look at the warm nose here. Really, dynamic cooling definitely working at meeting dynamic cooling again. Um, Colder levels from the upper level of the atmosphere help cool. Such heavy precip rates help cool the column, and right, so this heavier precip helps cool the column and prevents it from mixing over so much. And just given how you're still pretty well saturated in your dendritic growth zone, not great though, and not as great as I would like to be at the top of the dendritic growth zone, but still you're fairly well saturated. And what this will do is it will, along with these heavy um, omega readings here, meaning there's strong lift present in your dendritic growth zone. Dendritic growth zone again, that's where your snowfall production zone is. That's where your snowflakes are made. So that is where then we will look for from here about minus 20 degrees to minus 10 degrees Celsius. That is where we will look for our dendritic growth zone. And you can see not not as well saturated as I would like to be, but pretty well saturated, but very strong lift present. And that's what the NAM is suggesting. For a very strong, that would be 1 to 2 inch per hour rates. I'm a little skeptical we get that much, but I think 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches per hour rates are definitely on the table here with this event. And take a look at the HRR, a little bit less, not quite as much. So again, so kind of taking an in between. We'll just try to find a heavier snow sounding, and that's actually a pretty solid sounding as well. We can see on the HRR, you see the warm nose, not quite as prevalent. Still, you can see it very clearly, that warm nose where that temp line, curving and bending, but not quite as prevalent as it is on the NAM, as you can see. And that would maybe help with ratios a little bit, for sure, and also prolong the snow that you would see as well versus mix. So that I do think there's just going to be some mixing with this. I don't think it's just straight snow to dry slot completely. I think there's going to be some mixing, especially for southern New England, especially for southern New England. But again, very solid sounding there for some, at least a brief period of heavy snow. So 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches per hour rates. I love snow too, myself personally. Can't speak for everybody, but I definitely love snow. And you can see, this is what I'm talking about here. It's a little bit questionable that you have not super well saturated in your dendritic growth zone, really not much lift here in your dendritic growth zone either. Um, I would not. Pencil shrunk there. I would not favor the warm nose being able to hold off like as much as the HR has it. So I wouldn't be shocked, in my opinion, if. Oh no, go back. Sorry, Levi. As great as you are, when it's very fluffy, yes, fluffy snow means it accumulates more. So I love that as well. But go to the pen tool here. It wouldn't shock if this is all sleet at this point, really. I don't. I really. I'm struggling. I just think that warm nose will be a little bit too prevalent to really get 3-4 inches of snow down into southern Connecticut. It's possible. It's possible. You can overperform. There's definitely an opportunity for you to overperform, and see 3-4 inches of snow. But I would favor more of a more 1 to 2 with 3 inches possible. So more of a 1 to 3 versus more of a 2 to 5 for those areas. And then up into Maine, that's where I think 3 to 6 plus inches of snow. I would kind of say more of it's like a 3 to 7 ish, but that's kind of a wide range. But say like a 3 to 6 plus, where some isolated higher totals are possible. But in general, probably a general three, some 4, 5s, and 6s, out there in Maine and into New Hampshire, and then also Vermont. So that's kind of the general idea, I think, with how this plays out. But certainly, the concern is here not just the snow, it's also the mixing. And again, you want to make sure that when you're driving, try not, if you have to be in this tomorrow, again, it's maybe hard to see. Remember, if it's the ice accumulating on top of the snow, that's definitely a problem as well. Um, and you want to be able to make sure, especially if you put a sleet layer on top of that too, a snow and then a sleet layer. That sleet layer will make it easier for that ice to accumulate as well, and that would definitely be a little bit of a concern. There, we'll see how well again they treat the roads tomorrow, but there is definitely some icing concern just because it's not because of how much, it's just the timing of the event. And a lot of people potentially on the roads because being viewed more of as a minor nuisance when people don't see a lot of snow. They can kind of tune out the rest of that part of the forecast, and that's where problems arise. So um, no, hopefully it's not too much of a problematic day, but this is one of those ones where it wouldn't shock me if you did see a lot of accidents, more than usual for one of these, just because it's not an all out, it's not an all out snowstorm, so to say. It's more of a winter storm, and there's snow and all kinds of different precipitation types. And again, many in the Mid Atlantic will finish as rain, so less of a concern for the evening commute for the Mid Atlantic, but um, north of north of New York City, the evening commute, I would say once we get into southern New England, that evening commute, I do have a little bit of concern there with that. But again, I would say the NAM may be overdoing a little bit of the precip. I think we dry saw a little bit more, like the HRR is showing. Look at that over under. You were late, so take that twisted. Um, so yeah, I think that HRR is probably a little bit closer with the dry slot idea. NAM can sometimes tend to overdo the precip here, but again, that would be a little bit of concern too, like light freezing rain that comes in on the backside. Um, that's very easy for it to accumulate when it's not super saturated. It's much easier for that ice to accumulate as well. So that would be a little bit of a concern. But again, before the mess comes in, pretty solid front end thump comes in for the morning commute, maybe just after the morning commute for more in Massachusetts. So again, you can maybe try to wait it out after the slot moves through, but it could be a little risky potentially. So let's hope that dry slot will be much more prevalent, so we don't have to mix. We don't have to mix as much, and that'd be very helpful for sure to limit that potential, and that would certainly limit any icing concerns there. So yeah, so unless we got further questions, I feel like we covered that pretty well, and we can kind of look at guidance for this upcoming weekend. Let's take a look here. Alrighty, let's take a look here. Shout out all the new subscribers we had today. So was on Gerald's stream earlier. A reminder, hit that like if you haven't already. It's very much appreciated. Y'all are freaking awesome, as you know. And consider subscribing if you are new, potentially for the first time. Again, we're now going to break down the weekend storm, but we do again, we do a lot of live streams here. We do videos from time when we don't do live streams, so we're going to be pretty busy upcoming here. Love breaking this stuff down and just getting kind of into the nitty gritty for a lot of this stuff. So without further ado here, let's get into the weekend storm. We got another one to kind of track here. And take a look here now. Look at the upper level profile, continuing to drop a little bit. You see that? Continuing to drop a little bit more of a progressive look. So again, what we're seeing here on models, and I kind of alluded to it, I was kind of starting to see where we're probably going with this. And I was like, at the time when I posted that, it was late last night. It was before, that 06C guidance came out really. And I was like, I think there's a shot overdoing a little bit that we stay all snow for southern New England, or at least mostly snow. I will say mostly snow. I think for now, that's kind of what I think. And then this turns into your battleground zone. This right here might turn into your battle zone area, your battleground area, whatever you want to call it. That is where it could be life, or it could end up being life or death. I guess the best for snow. Oh, which one's the best for snow at a Long Island for 3? Really, anywhere New York City southward for next week going forward, I think is just for now. I would say is the best chance. Um, but I don't know. I think you may have a decent shot with this one. So you can see what we're doing here is you take a look at what the changes we're starting to see on guidance here. Notice continuing to press more and more here with this system, continuing to press more and more on the system. So what you're doing is you're also kind of making this a little bit more progressive, and you're flattening this out just a little bit, and you're shunting this a little bit further south. You're pressing on it a little bit more, your upper level look, so it has to sink more. And what that does is it prevents your original low pressure, like we talked about for those that were earlier on stream, from intensifying so much early on. That warm nose can now no longer, I'll zoom in a little bit. All right, so what you're doing is, and I'll use the P-type map, is now that warm nose is not able to advance as much. So that original low pressure system, this warm nose now just above the surface, is not able to advance as far. And so this limits mixing potential now for these areas as much. All right, we're back. We're back. Technical difficulties. So I saw the screen go out and I was like, oh no, what happened? We're chilling. We got it. We're good. All right. So yes, like I was saying, there are thin margins here for ice, and like yes, there are thin margins here for places further south for ice concerns. But again, what I was saying is, just because this low pressure is not going to be able to the warm node is not going to be able to advance as far. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to weaken the system completely, because this is going to be able to strengthen. So this turns into a pretty strong. I'll zoom out just a little bit so you can see that this does turn into a strong low pressure system. And you can see this is going to really deepen. I mean, this is eventually going to be a sub 950 storm up there, up by Newfoundland. So this is, north of Newfoundland here. So it's going to get very strong. You can see the upper level look is strong. This is why, what I do like about this is the upper level energy. When you have Go back to the United States here is when you have, we're back twisted, don't worry. When you have a strong upper level look like that, I mean, that's a very intriguing look right there. Very, very intriguing. I mean, you can see, boom, I think this is a really solid um, upper level profile here, and that's going to be sliding out. So that's going to allow, again, a really solid, again, with all these setups here, you're pulling moisture up here from the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic with this ridge here. You're pulling up moisture and warm air into this to help meet the cold air. And there's your baroclinic zone now. This is your that is where that cold air is meeting that warm air. And so now you're going to see this battle battle zone kind of take place here for winter weather over the next over the next couple weeks. And that's that kind of general idea with the setup here is, I mean, and you look at that, you even get the snake tongue look just offshore right there. You see the snake tongue pop, boom, right here. You see that snake tongue look. So it's a pretty good upper level profile. I really like the look here, especially for eastern New England. I think there's a chance that totals, I think there's an opportunity here for some coastal enhancement in eastern New England with this system to kind of hold on. So that would be something I would keep an eye on here. So with this system, I think with the initial, just off the cuff here, it doesn't matter the model you look at. I think the GFS has a decent idea right now of what's going on. Um, is I would say there could be like a double maxima right here where that front end thump originally happens, because there is going to be a pretty good 700 volt signature. And then also play this out. And then also up here in eastern New England as well, I think there's an opportunity for another jackpot spot potentially. We'll see if this shifts a little bit further south. It wouldn't shock me if we continue to press on this system more and more. Then we're going to see this come further south, and that would maybe allow maybe New York City to get into it a lot more. But you can kind of see that general idea where we're trending just a little bit more progressive with the system. You see that sleet line continuing to drop a little bit right here. Again, it was just you see that drop a little bit. And so this is where things could maybe start to get, a little bit more interesting here with the system. You see how we're not necessarily even weakening our system either when we do this. So you get a pretty strong snowstorm out of that. That pretty notable snowstorm. And again, that's kind of how you could continue to raise your ceiling is, the more you can get that secondary load to take over a little bit sooner, the more you could enhance your chances for a bigger snowstorm here, as well for places further east into southern New England. And yes, I'll also say New York City has an absolute opportunity here to get accumulating snow, very much in play. And you can kind of look at the totals from this run. It was pretty impressive here. It was a very formidable snowstorm, and you can see versus the last run is actually more than the last run here for some places. You see that there in eastern New England. There's some actually more totals here. So I'm very intrigued. I think there's definitely 5 to 10 plus inch potential here with this. Some isolated higher totals definitely can't be ruled out, and this could end up turning into maybe a double maxima, or you can't see over the pink. There could be a couple of areas where you'd be watching out here and then here as well, potentially, and then you get a front end thump. You have some, I think you have the opportunity for several inches of snow here at least. Yes, even Long Island, you have an opportunity here for at least several inches of snow across New York City, Long Island. In fact, I would say Long Island might be even more favored, than New York City because of the orientation of the setup. That's more time you have to get away from the further east, the better with this system. The further away from the warm nose you can. The further away from the warm nose you can get, the better. So that's why you can see New England, for example, places here in southern New England have a good shot to stay all snow versus here in Pennsylvania. Because remember, see our low pressure out here, this warm nose driving further north. So this is where the mixed bag happens. And then out here off the Atlantic, the secondary low is trying to develop here. And once this gets going, look, watch here. This is where you want to watch right here. Once this low pressure right here, and once this starts going, watch what happens. You see how that it starts to collapse there. Look at that. It just kind of slides out then. It stops advancing northward, north, and then boom, slides out. And watch that. See that 1004 pop, 1002, 999 start intensifying off the system. And so off the offshore, and then that's where you can get cooking. Now you have an intensifying low pressure system with a strong upper level look passing over. Uh, and so this is where I think then you got winds off the ocean here now. Now you have an opportunity for some enhancement here just off the bat, I would say, even a few days out. There's definitely, I mean, for me, I'm looking at this. Um, I think this is really a double maxima. I think this is somewhere in here maybe, and then another somewhere in here potentially as well for be able to get the most snow out of this. Just as of right now, this could even shift a little bit further south. I would favor this to shift further south, excuse me, than further north as of right now. And then you'd get a bunch of, and you have better ratios due to being further away from the warm nose and being well placed into the Arctic air, the cold air. So you'll still be able, regardless, still be able to be a pretty decent precip shield. So I'm not too concerned with huge bust potential out here in central New England as of now. Especially south of huge bust potential. I think you'll still be able to get a precip shield, out of this system. But you can definitely see it'll be heavy snow too. We'll be talking probably 1 to 2+ inch per hour rates for people. This will be a moderate to heavy snowstorm, not a long duration light event here. And I think there is some opportunity again for kind of a double maxima here. I would look at the kind of that uh, general area, kind of a double maximum. And just because I didn't draw you in it doesn't mean you still don't get a good solid. That's just where I would most favor, just for right now. Do you think the Jeffs is too far south in PA for this weekend? My lord. The Jeffs is not gonna. It's gonna have a trouble with the P type. So that's where the ensembles with some of these mixing. You got to remember. Jonah, welcome, Jonah. I'm glad to have you in here. So that's what you got to remember with the Jeffs is, in the ensembles in general, they're going to have a tough time. Those 10-to-1 maps that you see, they're going to have a tough time deciphering sleet versus snow and or freezing rain. So that's one thing you kind of have to when you look at those ensembles twisted. But let's look at 700 Vort here. It's my man. I mean, I get freaking double-digit snow if this were to happen. You see that 7 look. I mean, that band's going to come thumping in. And then you can see, look at that. This is what I'm talking about here. As the storm gets organizing, that 700 band that starts getting going here. Look at that 700. The 700 gets going. So, as this starts forming, these areas here just start absolutely cooking here with heavy snow as this starts to slide out here. And you would, I mean, thumping snow. You would be at this point right now, absolutely thumping. And if you're able to listen, here's the thing. This is why I say 5 to 10 plus right now, and it's a slightly higher ceiling, because if you're able to see, keep sliding it up. You're very, very welcome, Twisted. And it's possible the Jeff's further south overall. I just haven't looked at it yet, but it's just something to keep in mind. Threat next week as well, Alex, and I'll answer your next question after. Especially if you're living, if you want the most snow here in New York's eastward, listen up right now. This is what you want to see here is you want to continue to see this low pressure here. You want to see this become more dominant earlier on. This will allow 700 here to organize early sooner. So the earlier you can get your mid-level dynamics to consolidate, the heavier the snow you're going to see across these areas here. And the more your mix line is off earlier, allowing you to stay snow for longer. here in New York City. I'm very confident you're going to at least be able to get some this weekend in New York City. But this is the difference between you seeing 2 to 5 inches, 2 to 4 inches of snow, and you seeing 8 inches of snow here in New York City. This is the difference between that. The earlier you can get your secondary load to take over earlier, the sooner you get that transfer to happen, and the sooner you can better consolidate these dynamics, the better shot you're going to have for cold air again to help collapse that warm nose. And as this slides out, then whoever's north of that just stays snow the whole time, or you are a brief period of time. At 850. Yeah, 850 is gorgeous. The 850 look is very gorgeous. You can definitely see that here. 850 and 700, you can see trying to stack at that point a little bit earlier if you can get some of those mid-level depth. But the 850 is where you get cooking here. All right, that warm air advection here, you can see at 850, and that you're just, definitely thumping. This whole area here, thumping. Gorgeous, gorgeous 850 look there. So that's kind of that idea. We'll see. Let's take a look at the Canadian. Let's keep the Canadian. I'll answer your question first, Alex. Is this one of the most favorable schemes for snowfall lakes in mid-Atlantic? Again, some people call the mid-Atlantic a little bit different. I consider, for me, it's like south of Philly is mid-Atlantic for me, in my opinion. That's kind of what I consider mid-Atlantic. I consider Philly like the divider between mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, at least personally. So I kind of say it's more so, more favorable for the Northeast here in this pattern. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's like. I guess in a while, I guess so. Yes, I mean you think about it. Look at all the stuff that's happened here. Another. I just saw CB19. Yeah. So yeah, with this, see, let's get the Canadian going here. This weekend storm, but it's definitely a favorable pattern. I wouldn't say completely for the Mid-Atlantic, but yes. How about Southwest Virginia snow and rain? Unfortunately, Jonah, Southwest Virginia will not be able to get will not be able to get too much out of this. Not this storm. Maybe next week. Here's the Canadian. Seems like pressed a little bit more, but also a little bit amplified at the same time. Yeah. So it looked like. Virtually not too different with the P-type map there, but again, Canadian showing is pretty similar solution actually to the GFN. Maybe not too far off here. Again, pretty similar to the GFS in terms of agreement for this weekend. Solid. Again, I think this is. Maybe just slightly more, a little bit more amplified at the same time. So a little bit less. It's a little slower, but maybe slightly more pressed on this run. Again, you can show. I'll show you the snowfall on this. Again, another solid thumpage here from the Canadian. A little blotchy with the map. Oftentimes, that's what it ends up being. So I can't really say it's too bad, but you can see. Again, really solid. Actually enhancing some of the totals more there for places in New England. So depending on, but again, a general idea Probably 5 to 10 plus inches of snow is definitely at play here. Sorry, back to weather now. You're good. But look at the upper level. Look at this. This thing is. I mean, that's a gorgeous upper level low. I gotta zoom out a little bit. Look at the upper level look here. That is a strong upper level. That's an upper level low that means business. This means business here. It's a little bit more amplified than the GFS. Definitely, it's definitely slower than the GFS. You can see the GFS a little bit faster. So that will definitely have implications for the next one because the confluence from behind is really going to define, what happens after as well. See all that fun stuff that happens. Obviously, a lot of action happens again on the GFS after, but is the euro out yet? If not, we can go straight to next week. It's almost out. We all right. While the euro comes out for this weekend, we can talk about next week. Let me see. Did I miss any more comments? Decent storm Sunday, blizzard s. Yeah, I don't know about blizzard. It's hard to say because there's certain for blizzard you need to have exactly 35-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-mile visibility for 3 hours, and snow. that's like the NWS guidelines right there. Your AI read off, kind of general idea. But so it looks like the Canadian kind of has more just one storm and freaking amplified of a storm. Jesus, that thing. So that's the Canadian look for next week. I kind of want to look at see what the models did first before I. Canadian very amplified with that. You know what time the euro is running right now? So the euro comes out just after midnight always. Now it used to come out a little bit later. Now it comes out earlier, and now the euro comes out just a little bit later, just a little bit. So yeah. So we'll do that after. Looking up now, starting maybe models are starting to converge maybe on the split idea. Look at see there. Euro AI. Hold up. Don't mind me. Yeah. That. All right. Trying to split the storms. We'll see. We'll see here. We'll see. Okay, I'm telling you, something in that time frame is going to be a freaking beast probably in that time frame. Lord. That is an upper level look for sure. All right, let's go. Euro AI. If the Euro's about to come out, though, we're gonna before we dive into the weekend. Not quite. It's not really. So here's the Euro AI, and it kind of demonstrates for next week. Let's see for 12Z, 18Z. You see, we smooth it out a little bit here, but this is the general idea: is we drop in a piece again. We drop in upper level energy. This time a little bit further south, so there's going to be some dig. So looking at this again, you're looking at 500 volt. This upper level volt here that this upper level vorticity we're looking at here at 500. This drops in, and then you can see. Look at this ridge. So this ridge is our steering, and also again supplying our moisture off the Gulf of Mexico and up from the Atlantic, and then this is going to follow the same train tracks. It's going to go right north of the ridge, but this time, you can see, it has to go above the ridge. That's where this thing is going to trek, and so there's going to be some latitude gain to this. And anytime you can kind of pull storms northward, oftentimes it maybe gives a little bit better opportunity to organize vorticity, unless it's too strung out, which that might be the case. But it gives you an opportunity to pull in some really deep warm air and help kind of create that thermal clash with that cold air out ahead in place. And so that's kind of what we're going to see happen here next week. There could be one or multiple systems next week, and you can kind of see Euro AI kind of highlighting that. Euro AI in the medium range has kind of been, I can't lie, it's been quite fantastic. So you can see the Euro AI, kind of the idea it has for this weekend, kind of saying that it might be all snow New York City northward actually. So that would be pretty much anywhere north of New York City, all snow. Nowhere in southern New England really dealing with any mixing concerns and making New York City metro kind of that battleground. So we'll see here. It's not perfect with once you can start getting closer, it doesn't do great with like it's the general idea of the setup. It's happened to done pretty well. Thou art going to receive the sud. Oh boy, twisted. Thou speaking thou Shakespeare. Are you listen to Shakespeare in English class right now? Jeez. So again, I would say Tuesday, Wednesday is the time frame. I'm not going to favor a farther south solution now. Persistent ridging here present. You really need to see that ridge kind of break down a little bit more. Unless too much here. If you press too much here with to the north here with your high pressure, then that would kind of string this out a little bit more. And then this turns into maybe more mid-Atlantic than northeast. However, I'm going to favor northern mid-Atlantic northeast here with this. So if you can see the upper level here digging and coming out. I knew you did. I knew you did. I knew you. That is more genius than any forecast. I have the intuition that you have to be able to do that. That's incredible. Come on, you got to give me something there for sure. Oh my God, freaking Macbeth, all that stuff coming back to me. I had to read a little while ago as well. But yes, so no, not English class. I would just watch the movies, to be honest, more so. That's what I do. If there was a movie or an audible to the book, that's what I would do personally. So this track, this track is northeastward. And, this is again, we'll see how much of this upper. This is why the P-type maps are a little. I'm stingy on these right now. I'm very stingy on these. A lot of people are getting too much to these, and this is why it's a little messy. And you need to be focusing more on the upper level energy, here. AP Lit, jeez. Well, I did not take too many APs in high school. It took some, but not a lot. This upper level energy look here drive. So I'd say in regards to more Tuesday, Wednesday, I think this is kind of where I'm looking at right now. Northern Mid-Atlantic. This is kind of where I'm looking at right now. I think DC to Maine is where I'm looking at right now. DC to Maine is where I would put the focus on for right now, personally. So that's kind of where for Tuesday, Wednesday, and there's definitely significant potential here with this. There is definitely some significant potential with this. There is definitely the opportunity. Like I said, this is something where 6, 7, 8+ inches at least of snow, just as a floor. 6 days out. That's a somewhat generous, kind of a bolder call there. But again, the thing is with this system, you're getting more dig on the system, so you're going to be able to pull more moisture up with this because of dig you're going to see in that latitude gain with your upper level energy. So it's not going to take an incredibly strong upper level low to be able to get the structure of an upper level low look you get here. Again, that's the thing with all these systems coming up. The stronger of an upper level look here you get, the bigger of a storm you're going to. I'll give you a statement from my lord. That's what I'll give you. I like that idea in the middle of it. More potential, sure, if that's what you want to call it. Definitely significant potential here, though, on Tuesday, Wednesday for another storm and beyond. There again, I think there's more to come. We talked about the Japan connection as well. Look at that! Oh my God, that Euro AI doing it again. Look at that look. Oh, another freaking look at that. Incredible. Euro AI trying to freaking look at that. Unbelievable. Yeah, incredible. But again, we talked about the Japan teleconnection last night. We're going to talk about that again after. But I think there's definitely maybe potential for multiple storms as we get our Old Spice little ad break from the music in the background. I'm not gonna. I don't need copyright YouTube, so the non-copyright music in the background does it well enough. So, and you got to get some sponsorships, obviously. So, to snow or not to snow? That's a question. Yes, that is certainly a question. Are you able to chat on X? It's okay if nobody's chatting. I'm not offended it by any means, but if you're able to chat on X, please someone at least put something. So I'm not worried about. Just I have some worries about that after last year and trying to figure that stuff out with the new X live stream and the Periscope and all that fun stuff. So, but let's take a look at the year before we go further. Let's take a look at the Euro for this weekend. You think Long Island can get more snow from the Tuesday, Wednesday than this weekend? Higher, sir. Yeah. Let's take a look here. Maybe a little bit faster again towards the GFS. A little bit faster. Especially from 12 you can see Canadian might still be a little too slow with the system relative to the rest of the guidance. And that would have downstream effects beyond. So I'm actually going to look at 700 first. Ooh, look at that 700 look there. Thump comes in late. 850 is cooking. A little late on the 50 from compared to the GFS, but still. You can get the look here. Look at that. Just look from AZ. It's a little bit faster. A little bit faster with the system, so. Doesn't necessarily mean that mix line is actually coming further north. You see how it actually kind of lessens overall when you do that. But man, yeah, packing a punch there. Packing a punch for New England. I'm gonna start 70 whatever. There you go. 5 go to 99. Yeah. Means business there. And you know what this tells me too with a lot of the if you go to 10-1, you can see is there's going to be some good ratios here. So you can see that one map. You see the heaviest kind of rate in here in terms of QPF. So the fact we're starting to see some of these, this is almost an inch of QPF here. That's a solid. Yes, Gina McGrath. Thank you for replying. Hoping for a blizzard here in Nassau County. I hope you get a very big snowstorm as well. I can't promise a blizzard, but a pretty solid snowstorm. Oh, this is total. God, Brady, come on. I was so confused for a second. I was like, 10-1. Okay, this makes more sense. And what this means here is pretty solid. Is solid ratios. Again, it's most of the QPF here, as you can see right here, but you can see higher total still extending out. So meaning there's going to be some fluff factor with this weekend as well with this storm. So it's more, this is why I think still interior places, you can see that even just if you're able to get a 1/4 inch of QPF out there in Maine, for example, look what you're going to do with totals. I mean, quarter inch of QPF is giving you 5 inches of snow out there in Southwest Maine. So you're gonna be very 15 to 20 to 1 ratios in the interior. And boy, the Euro put me in the jackpot. Never like to see that 4 days, three and a half days out. You don't like to be not a fan of jackpotting this far. Again, demonstrating that potential here. Boom. There's kind of that double jackpot area, and then right, there's that double jackpot area here with this storm, and then New York City northward, pretty much New York City metro northward. That's where you could get at least several inches of snow on a front end thumb. A snake bite could drop a bit south and then could set up New York City. The problem you have here, um, the problem you have with this system is I zoomed out too much. For places further south is look where your upper level energy is coming from. It's already so far high in latitude that it's going to be very difficult for this to get pressed down so much that you can able to do that. And this is this is a strengthening system at the same time. So a strengthening low pressure system um, that you're going to see here that's already kind of at your latitude. That's what makes it tough here for New York City, and more so southward of New York City to be able to get more than 8 inches, of snow, for example, out of this event. I think for now, New York City, I would say more 2 to 5 ish, but you have 4 to 8 potential here in New York City for sure. I really do think it very well wouldn't surprise me. We're a couple days from now, we're talking more 4 to 8 ish, than 2 to 5. Um, so again, some people that maybe think, oh, it's similar to what you're saying last time, and so it's completely different setup. It's not the same thing as January 20th. Completely. When I say completely, I mean completely different setup. It definitely not quote, not even close to the same setup as we had a few weeks ago. So what I'm saying, people look at a lot of also these 500 millibar maps, and you're like, oh, that's a snowstorm? I'm like, yeah, it is. That's a snowstorm, and that's a snowstorm as well. It's more than just 500 millibar height maps. That's why 500 millibar Vort I love so much more than 500 millibar height. Alex, I wouldn't say that was a bust. I wouldn't say that was a bust. It was definitely the lower end of totals for sure, but it wasn't a bust. Um, just slightly late on the connection with that. It was a very good thermally driven event, and that's why I was pretty intrigued and thought maybe there could be more. But it was still a solid event. I mean, it was a widespread, um, you know, 4 to 8, 5 to 10 inches for a good amount of people across Pennsylvania, North Jersey, uh, Hudson Valley, New York, um, Northern Connecticut, Northern Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Southern Vermont, Southern New Hampshire. So it was still a pretty decent. I wouldn't say it was. Listen, there have been bigger busted storms than that for sure. I would say, just remember, it's like if you're forecasted like, you know, like 4 to 8, and you get like 3.5 inches. Like, did you really like you were a half inch off from like the forecast? It's not like it was like devastating. Like especially for me, like I have to think about where I'm forecasting from. I shouldn't say have to. I get to, because it's a privilege. But I get the forecast for a lot of the area. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like 3.5 inches of snow. I didn't even know you had 3.5 exactly. That's pretty decent. I was saying for New York City, 3 to 6, 4 to 8 for that, and it ended up being a bunch of 3 to 5 inch totals and around New York City and New York City Metro. So it's like, it's like, is that really like so much of a bust? It's like, you just verified a little bit lower than than the totals, just barely, or you were at the lower end range of the totals. And also too, it was a heavy snow too. So anytime you're thumping away, even at the lower end range of totals, it's still, I thought it was a solid event. Obviously the lower end range of totals. So I couldn't give myself more than a low end B minus for the grade. Um, Again, I'm stingy with those. So, but again, this is not the same setup whatsoever. So this weekend is completely different. Again, my general idea is we zoom in here for this weekend. I think a general 5 to 10, um, a general 5 to 10 plus inches of snow for pretty much a lot of southern New England, into Hudson Valley here. I think north of here, I think north of here is a pretty good bet for at least for 5 to 10 plus inches of snow. And then this is more of a 2 to 5. This is more of a 2 to 5 to 4 to 8 right now, is what I would say. And then up here, I would say like 4 to 8 as well, with this area being your jackpot. I perceive as such a bust because we are extremely. I know, I get it. Listen, I get it in a lot of the replies and comments on posts now. A lot of people, especially New York City Metro, a lot of people, Long Island too, just people are, want snow, but you got to remember, like it's normal to have like a couple years of not so greatness. A lot of people think like it's supposed to be 2010 to 2022, spoiled rotten, guys, spoiled rotten. We were in that span. We were so lucky in that span, so lucky. I mean, we really couldn't have had it any better. Spoiled ruthlessly. I mean, just we had several historic blizzards during that time. Like pick any major city, pretty much. There were several historic blizzards during that time. I mean, New York City, you had the 2021, you had a foot and a half of snow on that one. A historic blizzard that was twisted. Stop it. Stop it. Uh, 2016, you had one in New York City, Philadelphia, DC. 2015, 2022, Boston. I mean, Boston's had so many big snowstorms. Worcester has had so many big snowstorms. Um, countless. You think about the stretches, March 2018. You think about January to February 2015. You think about the January 2016 blizzard. You think about the February 2017 and the March 2017 blizzard. You think about the January 2018 blizzard. You think about 2019 was still okay, even though it was a crap fest for a lot. Still wasn't that bad. 2020, I think you had your whatever, and then December 2020, you had uh, the historic snowstorm there, where you had 3 to 4 feet from Binghamton to Maine, and you still had 10 to 20 inches, basically north of New York City northward. 2022, you had the blizzard there, and yeah, 2023, 2024, not as good, but just think about all those years. 2013, 2014 was a great winter as well. 2010, 2011 was pretty good. 2011, 2012 was pretty good. I think 2012, 2013. I forget if it was 2012, 2013, or 2011, 2012. Jesus, I'm talking fast. Just a ton of good winters. A ton of good winters. Think about it. The climatology snowfall raised about 10 to 12 inches. Personally, like for example, Worcester, Mass went up from 60-inch average to a 72-inch average. That's a foot higher. The seasonal, think about that. The whole seasonal, that's 12. That's an additional foot snowstorm on average per year in Worcester. So this is Worcester, where I live, close to where I live, right here. an extra 1 foot storm, basically on average, an extra 12 inches. That's how good the 2010 to 2020s were. That's how good it was. So a little 2 year stretch is really not that much. It's just people are very emotional in the moment now. That's how it works. Yes, 2020 was a good winter. Wasn't meant like that, Lord, I promise. Yes, it was. It absolutely was. The minute you released that out of your mouth, it was twisted. 20. How could I forget 2013 Blizzard? Yes, thank you. I can't believe how I could forget that. The 2013 Blizzard as well, one of the most historic ones. CB19. Thank you. I can't believe I forgot that. You can't forget about that either. 2010, 2013, I think 2009. There was a really good storm then. Just so many. 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017 was good. 2018 was good. 2019 was okay. 2020 was not great. 2021 was amazing. 2022 was solid. Just tons of really good winters. So I would use caution when thinking about. And I think this winter is going to end up being pretty good. I don't pat myself on the back too much, but listen, I tried to talk you all off the ledge at many times at point. Listen, it still has to verify, like I said, still has to verify, but um, we can go to the receipts. Listen, I'm not perfect. I make a bunch of cookie forecasts before, so I'm not perfect, but um, I try my I try my best for y'all. Keep the graphics too. The graphics game, you gotta admit, guys, has gone up this year. Graphics has definitely gone up. Yes, we were live with Gerald earlier. This was great content, by the way. This was absolutely great content. Very great content. I don't care what you say. You got to know baseball a little bit, but we did sniff this out. We did sniff out this time frame. So it's the weekend time frame right there. Sniffed it out. That's what that meme. That's what that GIF was. Where did I post this? Oh, here. Here's the receipts. We going back. We go January 24th, and then we even go back to January 12th. And even before that, going back probably to early January, is when I started to get on board that I think this was going to be a pretty good winter. So I'm trying to, yes, Edwin Diaz. No, I'm going to get copyrighted. Otherwise, I was going to play it right there. Wonder if I can get a no copyright. See if I can do that while I talk. But yeah, I've been pretty intrigued at the potential for this winter this whole time, and it was really once I saw the February potential here with how we were gonna. I was like, oh, now you're gonna tell me we're gonna have southeast and southeast ridge present. It's like now you can press the cold air all you want. Now you're going to create a very good thermal gradient, and for storms to kind of go across the country like that. That's why I was like, now you have an opportunity here, like this prevents suppression, and so that's why I'm pretty intrigued about. Was pretty intrigued about this, and I was like, all right, I think there's a good shot that winter. I think is going to end up being pretty good, but yeah, listen. It has to verify. What does show about the Tuesday storm? Yeah, we're going to go back to that in a second. Um, but you're just very, very intrigued about, I was very intrigued about how this was going to play out. And it seems like I think it's going to work out pretty well for a lot of people to at least be, like a close to average, winter, if not above average, depending on where you live. So trying to get better at long range forecasting for y'all, but You can only do so much here. Let's see. Let's hope it doesn't get copyrighted. I'll play it. There we go. There we go. February 2025, folks. February 2025. There you go. That's what it's going to be. February 2025. Get ready for it. Get ready. It's gonna be should be a good one. And for next Tuesday, Wednesday, I've had some questions about that. Again, with this setup, again, you're dropping in cross country snowstorm potential here. So you got cross country snowstorm potential with this. It's hard to say. I'm not going to look in the P-type maps too much. Actually, I'm going to go back to the. Let's see. Look at the freaking Euro. Oh, cutter season. Uh-oh. It doesn't matter. For the fun of it, though. Look at that. And not the biggest freezing rainstorm you've ever seen before. That'd be fun. Edwin Diaz, the goat. I remember when he blew his leg out, but yes. That was unfortunate. I wanted to be dominant again because that is so legendary. Would have been better Mario if his, he was, yeah. Heroes got this weekend too, Thursday. Could be two storms. Could be two storms next week. So I'll keep an eye on that. But see how that turns out. I like the Euro AI a little bit better. General idea. I think Euro AI is a little bit closer to where I'm at now. Like general idea, orientation of the setup. I'll say a lot of models have kind of played catch up too to the Euro AI. A lot of models have had to play catch up to the Euro AI. Same thing with this weekend. Euro AI was on top of this weekend before the rest. Reminder here: if you're here in the YouTube chat, don't mind hitting that like, please. It helps tremendously, very much. We're continuing to expand here. Over 640 subscribers now on YouTube. Fantastic. If you're on X, I just appreciate you watching. I'm sorry on X. I've gone corporate. I know I said I wouldn't, but I have an opportunity here to expand, and I just like the niche opportunity for you all to get to see on YouTube. I just don't think there's a lot of people on YouTube who kind of do what I do, the way and how deep into the analysis I go, and the attention to detail that I highlight. Not necessarily other people don't go into, but highlight on stream here, and like a lot of shorter format videos, quick hits. Talk about the general idea with the clickbait, and that's just not how I want to operate here on YouTube and X too. As you know, X is hardcore analysis for those that like the content as well. You can follow me on X. I do post a lot of stuff there quite frequently. I like breaking this stuff down, and I really think there's a lot of other people out there like me who really like to understand this stuff, and I can help those who are new learning kind of help understand what to look for, because I was that person too, and I had to self-teach this to myself. Mainly over the past 5 years, I've really self-taught this. So, so this is very much a passion. It's a passion project for me. It's not some big money greed here, but if there's a chance here to be able to, to get paid to just do this, then why not? So that's why we've kind of put some more time and effort here into YouTube, and that's going to continue to stay that way. And so I appreciate all of you watching right now on YouTube and X. So that's why when I say hit the like, that's why it helps tremendously for me. So, but you just being here and watching is fantastic as well. So yeah, a little tangent, but the pattern is looking legendary. I hope so. I don't know about legendary, but it's looking pretty good. Let's get to the. How far is the Jeffs out? Still loading. It's all right. You can kind of get an idea. Let's peep the panels. Let's peep the panels here for the Jeffs. Yeah, Euro AI is pretty solid look for a lot of people. Pretty solid there on the Jeffs, and then next week south with a lot of these guys for next week. Maybe a little too far south. Maybe. Maybe just a tad too far south compared to recent years. I would call it legendary. Yeah, I can't disagree. Let's keep the Canadian coming up here. Canadian every members. Not a single member doesn't show it for this weekend, so we're pretty much locked and loaded for this weekend, which is good. And Canadian picking up on next week as well. Canadian mean is going to be absurd. Let's. Oh. Oh. Crazy. Crazy mean. I mean, that's a 10-day mean right there. And then you do. Yeah, GFS is a little bit further south than I would say for next Tuesday, Wednesday, but and then there's the 10-1 mean for this weekend. So yeah, I had a question like showing all the way. Again, this is sleet as well. So a lot of that is sleet. You think the Uri is out to lunch next week? It's very different from the rest of the models. It's not very different for next week, I would say. Next Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm telling you, don't get too caught up in the P-type maps for next week right now. Don't get too caught up. Very fickle with the upper level energy. So meaning it's going to be pretty volatile. The P-type maps right now. Upper level energy is not even close to coming onshore. In fact, the upper level energy for this weekend is just coming ashore. Not even onshore. Weekend storm's not even onshore yet. Starts coming onshore tomorrow. Starts. And the main upper level low doesn't come on until really basically late tomorrow night. And you can see it moves pretty fast across the country. And it turns into a beast. I mean, that is as gorgeous of a 500 millibar look as you can get right there. As gorgeous. And another thing too with next is how that storm ramps up. Significant implications. I was going to say amplify because it is amplifying. Significant implications though. Because look at this. The tail end of this extends on and defines how much we press on this storm. Seeing a polar vortex stretch event happen as well a little bit to an extent. So how much does that press as well? That will define certain things. And this is a lot of model noise. That's another reason I like the Euro AI. The Euro AI can kind of smooth it out a little bit better. It can kind of, being it's just able to see a little bit more of through the BS a little bit, I think, in the longer range, and that helps. And it's more specifically the longer medium range, which is kind of where we're at right now. We're about to get in tracking distance for this thing. I mean, that's all relative. You can define tracking distance as whatever you want technically, but with this, it's very messy. Look, it's very very messy. So there's a lot of model noise for this to be, uh, to be deciphered here, and so that's why the p-type maps look messy as well. Very rarely do you see it like stretch out as much as you can see in some of these model runs here. It's Yeah, I would doubt that it's going to look like that. Like I would sincerely doubt that the upper level orientation is going to look like that. Sincerely doubt it. So to help answer your question, boy, would you like to know, weather boy? If you know that clip, uh, over under 22 inches of snow. That's a high over under. I said more like 11 inches for an over under in New York City. Rather be conservative with the over unders. I would maybe up it a little bit more now, but panels are still loading. All right. So here's what I'm going to talk about next. Um, I think there is going to be a very powerful mid-month storm. I think after Valentine's Day. Yes, I said it. That's where I got the name. That's the way. Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy? So I'm gonna slide to. I'm actually nah. We'll keep it right here. And my Dr. Phil comedy fans. Let's go to. Anybody know Adam Ray, Dr. Phil? Maybe any chance? Anybody seen any of those? Hilarious, but off topic. Let me go to Asia, Africa. Vamos. Let's go. Japan. Brady, why are you going to Japan? I'll tell you why. I'm not actually going to Japan. My doppelgangers. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. This is too zoomed in. Way too zoomed in. Western Pacific. Dun, 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 dun. Oceanic, Pacific, Japan. All right, zoomed out a little bit. We go back. I'm gonna go to tidbits. Go to tidbits, and I'll explain why. I think there is going to be a I think there's going to be a massive mid-month storm. And I know we have a lot to talk about. I'll go to East Asia. That will work just fine. I think there's going to be a massive mid-month storm. So Japan just had one of their biggest snowstorms, I think like historically. And you can see here, you see this right here, North Japan too. Had one of their biggest snowstorms. I mean, we saw, like 3 feet of snow in like 6 hours there. I think I saw it was like 34 inches in 6 hours, which is absurd. Um, yes, yes, I think there's going to be a very strong low pressure system after that, 15th to 20th ish, somewhere in that time frame. Um, maybe multiple, maybe honestly, maybe multiple, depending on wouldn't shock me, but at least one. There's going to be at least one, and there's a teleconnection here with Japan, uh, East Asia, Japan, right here. Whenever we see very active weather, very strong storm during this time, Oftentimes, yes, they had 4 feet in 12 hours, but also, I mean, I think 34 and 6 is maybe more impressive. Like, that's ridiculous. That the kind of banding you have to get for that to happen. Also, Japan's very notorious for seeing sea effects. For those know, and North Japan mountains can get hammered. So if anybody ever wants to, like that, they get insane sea effect snow out there. So like ocean effect or lake effect, just another body of water. So they can get some crazy totals out there. And it looks like they're about to do that with the sea effect um, snow out there. But there's a teleconnection here where a lot of times, a couple weeks later, it correlates to our pattern downstream, right? This is the exit latitude region here in Asia, just like we're the exit latitude out there in the US. So if I slide now back to the US, you'll see, I'm sure you've seen some long range crazy model runs, like some really strong low pressure systems. Like you see, um, wasn't on this freaking, go back to Weather Bell. I think the Euro had it tonight. So let me get it here. Yeah, this, like, you can see it, like, it's, this one, like, from the US. I don't know if we do that, but I don't even think it would be that. It doesn't line up with um, in here a big time storm here. I couldn't tell you whether it would be all snow, all mix or whatever for your backyard. Just, I mean, it's so far out. We're talking again somewhere, I think, the 15th to 20th ish. I think this is where we get a bit more wavier with the jet stream as well, just in general. But I think there's definitely, this is kind of more of a disruption in the flow a little bit. I think there's definitely not a significant snowstorm, whatever you want to call it, during this time for this area. Like a more so of a strong low pressure, and given the pattern we're in too, where I mean, you drop something in that's able to dive down, and with the ridging present here and the cold air as well to the north, you could get a very very significant storm. So it's just a lot of model noise, way beyond at that point. But look at that dominating high pressure. You're talking about, if you're going to throw a significant storm, good luck kicking that high pressure out of the way. Look at this. Look at this high here. Good luck kicking that high pressure like out of the way. So that's a long range more fun run right there. But I think there's definitely potential here, 15th to 20th, during this time frame, for there to be a significant, strong storm. So I'd be on the lookout for that. So this is not any related to next. This is not related to Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, Friday. This is not related to any of those. This is on top of that. So this is why this is going to be, in my opinion, a pretty good February pattern here. Mid to late February action here. This is somewhere more closer to that, post Valentine's Day to President's Day time frame. That's kind of where I'm kind of watching right now, for there to be potentially a pretty big snowstorm, winter storm during that time, and would favor the northeastern U.S. Right, because Japan, the exit latitude for Asia, right out there in East Asia, it's their exit latitude, and is the exit latitude region up here. We live unique area of the United States. We live in the exit latitude region for storms. That's why we get so many active winter storms. And then you're surrounded. You have the Gulf of Mexico to the south and the Atlantic here. And you have land to the north. So you have ocean to the south and east of you, and land to the north. So direct access always to colder air from the Arctic and moisture from the ocean. So that we live really is such a classic spot for snowstorms up here. That's why we get so many more bigger snowstorms than a lot of the country, and more classic looks as well. All right, come on, panels. There we go. I don't know. That's hard to decipher. Run to run all these. I'll just look at the mean. There's the 10-1 mean through this weekend, combining Thursday and the weekend. I mean, that's a strong mean right there. That's 10-1. You're talking about zero point 0.6 to 0.7 inches of QPF across southern New England. That's a strong mean right there, man. It's 3.5 days out. That's a real solid look right there. Impressive. Euro's impressive, man. Yeah, what was the Canadian? Oh, frick. That's the actual Canadian. Give me the Canadian Ensemble also being a higher 10-1 mean. That's like a interesting. Just interesting. Pretty solid Canadian mean there as well. Yeah, it's gonna be. Listen, y'all wanted snow. You asked for it. We're gonna get it. Like I said, northern Mid-Atlantic Northeast is where it's favored for this pattern. This is where we're favored for this pattern. This is where who's favored for the most snow with this. South Jersey. This is the general idea. Especially in here as well. Definitely. And that's what it's reflected in the ensemble means as well. I mean, absurd. Ridiculous. That's 336 hours. That's not even the full run. Not even the full run. Absurd. So it's going to be a 15 to, it's going to be like a 16 to 24 inch mean from New York City to New England. Man, crazy. Crazy. But yeah, I mean, we've been blessed. We have been blessed with some really good winters. So it'll be nice to get back to that again here in February potentially. But I mean, don't get it twisted. No pun intended for twisted in the chat, but don't get it twisted that we have gotten very very So like all these people like extremely like snow depressed right now, like it's gonna like I know it's crazy, twisted for sure. For all these people, snow depressed, like it's been pretty good. We've had it pretty freaking good. We'll probably have it pretty good as well going forward for years. And here's the thing too, for the people that are snow deprived here and that have been like on the low and feeling low about this here, once you get a taste, man, that stuff is like that stuff, man. That's like the good stuff. But you ride that high, and all of a sudden now you want to taste. You want even more. It's like that sugar high. You get that candy. Ooh, you get a little bit. Now you want a lot. So and especially when you're going from a what feels like a really low low, and then all of a sudden now you want to ride that really high high. Man, emotional roller coaster could be in in my replies coming up here. So that should that should be fun. That should be a lot of fun. But I'm grateful for as many interactions I have online with all of you. So very, very much appreciated. Impressive. I mean, that's lower than last run and still going to be ridiculous. Are you kidding me? Again, it's going to be lower, like Twisted said, in the 12s again on the Euro. And this is going to be absolutely absurd. This is going to be an absolutely absurd freaking uh, run here. Again, I had some people say too, oh, what's so crazy about a model showing 12 to 16 inches on in the long range? Like, all right, first of all, know what you're friggin' looking at first. If you're gonna like start opening your mouth like that, sarcastic, like to try to get under skin, it's like, and you want to like 100% play devil's advocate, not for good, but like for evil, literally the devil. It's like first of all, my man, this is I'm not replying to anybody here, by the way. Y'all are fantastic, and I get people in my replies when someone posts these like, okay, just read the thing, and you'll see that it's actually not. This M stands for mean, and the people that aren't ask questions. They ask it more in a question form. They'll say more like, is this an like is it an ensemble or what is this? Like they'll ask like what is this if they're unsure versus like those that think they know and then reply, oh, this is why are you what does it matter that a model show 12 to 16? That's not a freaking model. That's an average mean of 50 members. That's 50 different models in an average. That's what that is. So like you just got to learn how to read or and look at other posts. Sorry, I don't mean to be too negative. I don't want to be too, but it's just like, man, reading comprehension. It just sometimes it's not super hard. It's not it's not super hard, but oh, look at this long range look though for this. Gorgeous. Oof. Telling you this time frame here, 15th to 20th. Oh boy, I just drew the whole country. Hold up. 15th to 20th. Something big is going to brew during that time frame, and not really just snow, but I think a pretty powerful storm. Gosh, I need these panels to start loading out here. I gotta see what the heck happened here. All right, they're getting there. Yeah, you can see the euro, the difference on the Jeffs. I mean, the euro. I like the idea of the euro ensemble. I think the euro ensemble aligns. That's gonna be snow. Bro, you baited a lot of people. You baited a lot of people on X with that, man. They took the bait for sure. Yeah, this aligns better. It's more like Tuesday, Wednesday versus Tuesday. It's like more Wednesday-ish. I think that's the time frame for about Wednesday next week, and then maybe another Thursday, Friday. Can we do 4 storms? 4 storms in a week. That would be absurd. You know what the snowpack would be? 4 storms in 1 week. Four winter storms in about 8 days. That'd be absurd. Oof. I mean, no, it's a week. I mean, tomorrow gonna be. I mean, tomorrow's winter storm. I guess 10 hours from now, but 7 hours. I'm not gonna be able to look at the '06 runs. I'm gonna have to go to bed so I can wake up for the snow. Honest, staying up and breaking down these models all night is taxing, but I enjoy it. Yeah, we've been blessed. We've been oftentimes blessed here. I mean, sort of 2013. This one here was. I mean, this one here was incredible. Think about all the ones we had, between 2010, 2013, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2020, 2021, 2022. Just the craziness we've done. This was a unique 500 millibar setup, too. That was a unique 500 millibar setup. I did a reanalysis on X one time, not on YouTube. That one was just absurd. It was 2015. It's the 2013 one. Punk is reminiscing on the good old days. There we go. No, we've had plenty of good old. Listen, I'm just trying to remind everybody, we've been blessed. We've been blessed here. Need it on YouTube? You want 2013 real analysis? I got some stuff. We have. All right. Well, I'll put it on the schedule then. Like 2013 real analysis. Um, we have also on the schedule at some point here. Listen, we're not going to be able to do it with this February coming up, but we will. It's on the queue for when we quiet down again. Dendritic growth zone breakdown. Thinking we could do either a premiere or a live stream where we're breaking it down. I'll go in depth on. That's that's one thing that kind of separates potentially me from other forecasters. Is not necessarily makes me better, but something I do differently is, for me, my snowfall maps. It ultimately, I'm going to look, for me, how I break down the ratios is I'm going to look at the QPF, and then I'm also going to look at lift in the dendritic growth zone specifically. I'm going to look at how well saturated we are in the dendritic growth zone. I'm going to look at temperatures throughout the column. I'm going to look at all these different factors, and that's what plays into my snowfall maps. That's what plays into my snowfall maps significantly. All those factors go in the line. You see here, these two coming together. There's your upper level connection here. There's your phase. You see that phase happening there? Look at that. That's amazing. You can see it on radar, basically. The two pieces upper level energy coming together. That's why New England still got hammered here. Because that upper level energy was still coming together. This was really not even, I'm telling you, that's what made this setup so unique is. The main show is really still getting together. But you already had this getting going. So this right here, just magic happened across Long Island and in Connecticut. And you can see though the main band though getting going here. This is it. Look at the main show. You see this? So just Maine down Maine down to southern New England, just rotting out like the 2015 band. So that's what made that one such a unique beast and so widespread with the totals. So that was the fun stuff of 2013 Blizzard for sure. And we can definitely do a reanalysis on that one for sure coming up. We got up to 645 subs now. Appreciate the new subscribers. We have done those that remember reanalysis. We've done Blizzard of 2022. We've done Blizzard of 2021. And we've done Blizzard of 2015. Blizzard of 2015. This was this was a lot of fun for me personally. We did really good work here on all of these. I'm pretty happy, pretty proud of those reanalysis there. I went deep into the archives. 500 millibar reanalysis. Was able to go and find and dig up. And how much did I get? I don't have the it was about 2 feet though. It was about 2 feet. I didn't actually have an official measurement for that one. 2015 and on, I have official measurements for, but 2013 was about 2 feet. All the reports in our area were 2 feet, and it looked like it for sure. So I saw about 20, probably 25 inches, probably just about. So yeah, that was a fun one. Ooh, panels loading out here. So look at these, and then we'll whatever final questions you got too, put them in there. We're not done quite yet, but we're breaking this down. The Euro's on for Thursday, Friday too. Euro's definitely sniffing that out. Yeah, Euro for Tuesday, Wednesday, I think as well. And then maybe Thursday, Friday again. And then this is where you start seeing you see all these crazy, you see the more vertical motion here on some, we're moving. There's your disruption a little bit. So somewhere around this time frame here. I'm telling you, 15th to 20th ish, somewhere in that time frame. It's messy, but you can kind of see it. You can kind of see it. So the mean here, though, is just so ridiculous still. I mean, we do a look at the 5-day mean here. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, look at the signal here. This is a 5-day meet. Exactly where I would favor. Exactly. This is exactly where I would favor. Exactly for next week. Euro pretty much summed it up perfectly for where my thoughts are. My thoughts aren't perfect, but for where my thoughts are right now, this is kind of lines up pretty well. What I think is going to happen. So yeah. Oof. Oof. Lord. Crazy. Yeah. So that is gonna do it for tonight. We will probably be back tomorrow night if I had to guess. And I appreciate everybody coming in here. Hit that like as well if you haven't already. It's very greatly appreciated, and appreciate all the new subscribers that we had today. I think almost 30 new subscribers. So fantastic. Appreciate all the new people, and let's have some fun here going forward, everybody. Hope you all have a fantastic night. Peace.